Stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, there's no additions to the agenda, is there, Rick? Okay, we'll need a motion then to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda dated April 20th, 2020 as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, let's go ahead and approve the minutes from last week, April 13th.
I didn't have any corrections.
Yeah, they look fine to me.
Look good.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of April 13th as presented.
I'll second your motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Shaylee, do we have you on the line?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody doing?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I just got off the phone with the state, so that's always good news. No, we now have 17 confirmed cases. I don't have details on the 17th case since I just got off the phone, but that will be put out in a release shortly once I get that put together. So we do have 8 recovered and 2 hospitalized. We continue to test people every single day, and most of the results are coming back within the 48-hour mark still. Since my last update with the McPherson Hospital, they still report that they have a really good supply of testing materials. So I know there's been some public question about how much testing material we have, since most of the governor's remarks have been that a lot of places are really low on testing supplies, and we are fortunate in the fact that we had a good stock built up already. So we are still doing really good with that. We do still have PPE shortages like everybody else though, so that might be part of the confusion as well. I have now applied and or received for a couple COVID-19 grants. So one of them that we did get awarded is the coronavirus supplemental funding from the Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriations Act. So this, right now as we speak, we were awarded $16,742. This is strictly just for local health departments to carry out the surveillance, epi investigation, lab capacity, infection control, that kind of stuff, those type of activities. So I do have to track and report the use of this funding to the state periodically. It's pretty much just getting added to my quarterly grant reports that I do for the state already. Currently, we plan on using it to pay for the salary and overtime of my staff members that are putting time into COVID. That is our big expense right now, since the health department isn't doing the actual testing. Another grant that we applied for is through the Sunflower Foundation, which is a Topeka-based organization, and they their mission really is just to improve the health of Kansans. So it's not anything specific to health departments, but they had a total funding available of $100,000, and in the first round they had $52,500 available. And so they actually ran out of that first round before we got approved for ours, and it was going to be about $1,000. So we didn't get the first round, but the second round should be coming out soon. And there's word that those who didn't get awarded in the first round will be automatically put into the second round. So hopefully we still end up seeing something out of that. I also late last week applied for another grant that is through the Kansas Health Foundation, and that one was an award up to $25,000. Like I said, I applied late last week, so I'm not sure if this week I'll hear back from them or if it'll take them another week, but that's another option for us that will hopefully ease some of the cost that's coming with all of this at the health department. So other than that, that's all that I got this morning.
Shaylee, on the stay at home, that's in place till May the 3rd. Is that correct? The state has
Correct.
issued that.
Yep.
Do you see anything beyond that at all personally, or you have any feeling on, will some of that be relaxed a little bit? Or
Yeah, so I think some of the political restraints that the governor is starting to run into is she won't be able to extend any further past the 3rd, to my knowledge, unless there's some type of legislature movement with that. As far as locally goes, I think that they will probably put out some type of framework or guidance on how to start to reopen the counties, and then we'll be allowed to apply it as we see fit. I'm hoping that happens, just because evidence is that we need to slow open when we do open. And so all of us at the health department are just hoping and praying that we don't get any other outbreaks, because we're approaching our peak week for the state of Kansas. And so if we can just hang on to where we're at, hopefully we will be in the right position to go ahead and do a slow open on the 3rd.
okay, and with that, Shaylee, obviously there's some essential, some non-essential businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some of these I have real concern because they're hurting right now.
Sure.
Would they reclassify those as essential businesses then at that time, you think?
I don't know what the state is going to do. I see them probably starting with businesses first, to be able to, because like you said, they really are hurting right now. And this was just a terrible situation for everybody involved anyways, including the ones who were deemed essential. But I think it would be safe to assume that the state, or at least from my perspective, that a slow opening would probably consist of businesses being able to reopen with certain guidance or rules in place, as far as still limiting the amount of people in the building and that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, what I keep telling people too is we're past going back to the normal that we all once knew a couple weeks ago. We're really going to have to open up to a new normal, and we're going to have to create that, just because we don't know anything about this disease, and hopefully it's something we can just eradicate. But there's also theory that it could be coming back during flu season. And at that point, we really just need to reevaluate all of our societal norms that we do with each other as far as keeping people safe. But as far as reopening goes, I am predicting that there will be some type of guidance about those quote unquote non-essential businesses being able to open back up with certain rules.
Okay.
Shaylee, my question is, when we had the Dillon's employee that tested positive, they announced that Dillon's was the location. Why haven't we done that with the cluster? I agree that you can't put out the name of the person, but what about location?
So the reason that we did Dillon's and not our cluster is because Dillon's was a public place. The cluster is a facility that is private, and because of the circumstances of that facility, we are pretty much 100% confident that everybody who needed to know about it already did. My staff and then the staff at this facility had reached out to probably at this point over 250 people, just letting them know what was going on. The facility has put out letters to their families and their clients about the situation, and they've been doing, I believe, maybe even twice a week updates, or at least weekly, just to keep everybody on the same page. So there's some pre-existing stigma around the facility, and so we just didn't think it was necessary to either further that stigma or put the people who use this facility at risk. So really the big difference is the facility is not a public place whatsoever, and Dillon's is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shaylee, just to reiterate a little bit, so May 3rd is when our state mandate comes to an end, and then you talk about the slow open after that. The guidelines, I guess people are going to want to know what a slow open really means, but the guidelines is that strictly going to come from the state, or is that coming from your office?
Right now, the locals are being told that it will come from the state.
Okay.
And then it'll be kind of like the stay-at-home order, as far as it'll be up to us to decide how we enforce that. That could change by that could change by the 2nd of March,
Right.
unfortunately.
Okay.
I think it'll just kind of depend on the feedback and the pressure that the state receives from all of it. But
So in your office, you're starting to touch on some aspects of this too, I imagine, just in case if they dump it on the county, you're going to have
yes,
sort of a game plan.
yep, I'm trying to
Yeah. The best
create
that you
that.
can anyway.
Yeah.
And along with that, Shaylee, you know, McPherson County may not have any more cases, but you may have some other counties in the state that haven't even peaked yet. So will they relax some of those rules or standards for us in McPherson County versus somebody in another county?
That's a good question. I don't know if they'll be able to mitigate that type of control. I know on a national level, they have like the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri both enacted or extended their stay-at-home order for the same date, just to kind of take a regional approach to it, because we were both predicted to peak at the same time, to my knowledge. I don't know if they will go as specific as maybe like McPherson County belongs to the South Central Healthcare Coalition, and maybe they'll do some guidance of as far as, hey, you know, the South Central people, maybe you should look at this. And I don't know if they have that data as far as regions go or specific counties, but it would be interesting to see if we could do something like that, because that's another realistic thing, is we aren't as infected, if you want to call it that, as Sedgwick County, but we also don't have their population. So trying to keep the statistics aligned and realistic is difficult.
Yeah, and I realize that we need to be safe, but yet, you know, the economics of all this is really hurting some of our businesses in our county. And so, you know, just as soon as possible, we feel like it's safe, you know, we sure hopefully would have a little bit of input in that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would definitely come to you guys as soon as I get any guidance from the state on what that looks like. I don't have any intention of making any strong guidance or rules or anything like that, just because this is all uncharted waters for everybody. But another side of that I try to, when I do talk to these businesses, because they're asking the same questions, I remind them about the governor's order, but then I also walk through, let's say that next week we do open up businesses and we end up identifying another cluster and it's a public place. And so businesses really just have to think about the repercussions of kind of what happened with Dylan's, as far as putting Dylan's name out there and saying anybody on these days and these times are at risk. But it's kind of a choice that all of us just have to make when we decide to go out in public right now, since this disease is still running around. So there's so many sides to it. It's very difficult, and hopefully my goal is people just start taking personal responsibility of themselves and their businesses and the choices that they make, because it truly is affecting more than just ourselves right now.
Okay, any other questions for Shaylee?
No.
Thank you very much, Shaylee. We appreciate everything you do for us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Christina Stocks, Health Department Billing Specialist. Evidently,
She hasn't unmuted her phone yet. There she goes.
Christina Stocks, Health Department Billing Specialist.
She must not have a microphone on.
Christina Stocks. Well, we could go on to Lori here. Let's go ahead and Lori Wazzardi from Register of Deeds.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
I have a couple PCNs. I have a gal who's being promoted from a clerk 1 to a clerk 2. She's done a real fine job. I've been very happy with her. And you have her evaluation too. I believe you have a copy of it.
Yeah. This is a promotion, isn't it? Yes. Been here since right at a year.
Right out of year, the end of this month.
Okay, her promotions from a clerk 1 to clerk 2.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So this would be her annual review as well then?
Yep, year end, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the PCN as presented, moving from clerk 1 to clerk 2 position.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, then I also have a PCN for a new hire to the Register of Deeds Department. She's crossing over from the tag to the ROD. As a new employee again, starting basically.
This is Rachel Hoffman.
Yes.
And that would be effective as of today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's sitting in my office right now.
Okay. She hasn't backed out yet.
No, she's sitting right there, and Stetson's actually hooking her up to the computer. So.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the PCN for Rachel Hoffman as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
Lori.
Judge.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
You too.
We have Christina back on.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Christina
There you
Stocks,
hear
Health Department Billing Specialist. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, guys. How are you today?
Good.
Fine.
Morning.
Good. Well, I'm here to ask to get a write-off on uncollectible debt for VFC, which is for our children who get vaccines, for the amount of $839.33. We did submit to KDRS $1,429.53, and we received payments of $1,131.89 from KDRS from January through March. Is there any questions?
Okay. So we have received $1,131 since when? Since in this quarter or in the new year or what?
From January to March.
January to March. Okay.
Yeah.
And we've totally submitted 27,000. So we have 17,000 left pending that we don't know about.
Correct.
Okay. And how long will that stay? How long will they hold that collection before they write it off and tell us they can't get it?
I believe it's 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're saying then, Christina, that is 5 years right there. Is that what you're saying, that 17,000?
Well, I don't think we've been on it 5 years yet, but it's since we started
Right.
evidently.
Yeah, since 2018, when we first started the KDRS, that is pending collections. So it depends on how, like if they owe money to another state or a different entity, then they'll get them first and then they'll pay us in order,
Okay.
if that makes sense. But this is showing that it's pending collections, which means that it could stay pending for 5 years or it could go down, depending on how fast they get it to us.
So what you want to write off is how much?
$839.33.
Okay. Okay.
So those new numbers are coming in every quarter, right?
Yes, yes.
And I would say, Christina, we appreciate you keeping this current. It's always nice to know where we're at.
No problem.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the write-off of $839.33 for the first quarter of the year.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Under Sheriff Skylar Christians, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I
we can.
see you too.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, you got to look at this mug today. So I have 2 PCNs for review. Both also come with evaluations for 6 months completion. The first one I'll talk about is Ashley. Ashley joined us on 10/22 of 19. This is her end of introductory performance area here. As you can see, she's still developing and proficient at what we need her to be proficient at. She's got some comments in there so you guys can see some of those things that we're planning on working with her a little bit on. If anybody has any questions on her right away.
Okay, that's Ashley Godwin.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And this is our end of introductory then. Okay. Has she completed her LEPC training? Law enforcement training?
Some of that she's gotten done. We haven't gotten to be able to do everything because of the virus. Some of that stuff
Okay.
was postponed, but what we needed her to do for sure is completed.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have any questions.
Looks fine.
I'll entertain a motion on Ashley Goodwin.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the PCN for end of it introductory for Ashley Godwin as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, and the other one that I have is for Brandon Archuleta. Brandon is our newest deputy that we are still hoping we can finish the academy with. Unfortunately, the academy is still closed, so he's unable to continue at this time. But he is still going through our FTO process, and so we filled out the 6-month evaluation based on the FTO process right now.
Okay, because you have him rated as needing improvement. So you just saying because he hasn't been through the full school yet, is that it?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve Brandon's, this is an end of introductory then. Okay,
Yes, it is.
as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Skylar, are we at full staff now, or you still have some vacancies?
Yeah, we're at full staff. We do anticipate one opening or vacancy in the jail. And we are posting that as we speak now for a female jailer. But other than that, yes, we're full staffed.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right, thank you, Skylar.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, Holly Melroy, County Clerk. She's not on. Well, I guess we'll go to Tom. Tom Kramer, Public Works Director, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me good?
Yep. Good morning, Tom.
Morning. My item today is the acceptance of the bids for the bridge replacement for 2020. I included a recap of the bids for you, and the locations are listed on the request for action. If you guys have any questions, I'd entertain those.
Were these bids coming in about where you thought they would be, Tom?
Oh, if you look down there on our engineer's estimate, most of them are over it considerably. We've got one under it, and I think that one was probably a little bit lower than what we anticipated, but I think it's still a pretty good price. I had to visit with Don King over at King Construction, and they really wanted to do those, so they really addressed their bids so they could win the work. So,
And did they say how soon they'd be able to get to these?
this year, but I would say later in the year. So we did have a discussion about harvest, and he said, yes, it would be done before harvest. We didn't know which harvest it would be and in what year, but it will be done before a harvest. So,
Tom, are there going to be any bridge modifications?
no, we gave him opportunity to do some value engineering on it, and he said with the price that he's got on the boxes, that they want to continue going forward with the concrete boxes.
Did you give him any priority as far as which bridge needed to be done first?
Yes, we had that in the bid documents. Keith, I think we're all leaning towards the Mohawk 19th,
Okay.
and then the 23rd and Smoky Valley, and then the one on the paved road at 5th Avenue in Mohawk.
Yeah.
The two of them are closed right now and can't drive on them. So I think those are probably a priority. The one on the paved road, 5th Avenue, I think is, the key is once they get started, I want to get it done in that 50 days that we're allotted. I don't want to have to suspend that project going through the winter. Those are our indications to the contractors as they put these bids together. So he thought that he could have them all done yet this year. So he was pretty confident in that thought. A lot of it depends on other projects in the state. The state doesn't necessarily have the budget ready for it. Some of those may get suspended, so he could be here a little bit sooner than what he's indicating. Since this is all county funded and it's ready to go, he may come over and start at least that Mohawk and 19th one and get it going and get it finished first. So.
Okay.
Okay. What about the old bridges? Is that part of their contract to tear the old bridges out too, Tom?
Yes, this is all a turnkey deal. So they'll remove those spans that are there, dispose of them, and build a new one. And so if somebody's interested in the old material, they've got to deal with the contractor.
Okay. Okay, any other questions from my commissioners on these three
No,
bridges?
I have none.
Okay,
No, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the bids for the 2020 bridge replacement. And King Construction is who won those bids. We need to put the dollar figure in there, $832,260.85 was the
Okay,
approved bid.
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Anything else, Tom?
I don't think so. We had an issue at the end of last week, another little wooden bridge. I think it's along the 11th and Iron Horse down in that area. Somebody fell through the deck on it. We didn't close the whole bridge, but some of the deck is damaged. We blocked that lane of traffic off. I think it's still usable, but the bridge was on the list to be replaced. The abutments are caved in, and the abutment beams are bended. So it's a little wooden bridge, and it's not going to last much longer. So we're just having a rash of those things with those little wooden bridges. They don't last forever. So just to bring you guys up to speed with it.
Say that's 11th and Iron Horse?
Yes, Ron, I'm not exactly, I can't remember, and I forgot to write it down, but it's down in that area.
Okay.
Volume Road. I think it, to my knowledge, doesn't even have any cover material on it. So I think it's probably just access for the farmers when they're getting equipment in there. And I don't think, probably somebody down there that shouldn't have been down in there driving on it's probably who broke through that bridge deck. So, we'll try to make sure they have access through harvest and been able to get their implements in and out. My guess is this will probably be middle of next year at the earliest, structured, with everything else that's backed up the way it is. So.
Tom, how we coming on the asphalt plant?
I think they started the heating element Friday. So there's a step procedure in bringing that up to temperature. And I think they were talking about ordering oil either today or tomorrow. I think everything's ready to go. We still need to insulate some of the new pipes that were installed. But other than that, we should be good to go at being able to produce asphalt. So theoretically, depending on what the weather does this week, we could begin making a mix by the end of the week.
Okay.
Tom, what about on the milling project? We're going to have to contract that out. Is that correct?
Yes, we already have. We contracted those. The contractor, when they're ready, when we have our plant running, then that frees them up to begin the milling. So we didn't want them starting before we had the capability of covering it up. And I don't know exactly what time frame they're thinking right now. I have not talked to them in a couple of months. But I think towards the end of May, they were ready. They were going to be ready to go. And they were supposed to go out and look at the main street in Canton and get back in touch. But I haven't heard them. I don't know whether they've talked to the mayor over there or not. Just haven't had a chance to visit with either one of them.
Any other questions for Tom?
Yeah, Tom, I was over at Marquette the other day. Their main street looks pretty good shape. Did we do a chat or a chip seal on that, or?
Yes, it's probably been a couple of years. I can't remember if we did it last year or the year before. It's all kind of run together, but yeah, that main street's not in bad shape. We've chip sealed it 2, maybe 3 times since we took it over, and that's more than it should have been. But it needed it terrible bad when we took it over. So
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's why I'm wondering, why can't that be done over at Canton?
Canton's it's a lot worse shape. I mean, it's out, and the truck traffic's a lot heavier going through Canton. Now on the edges outside of the driving lane, yes, we could probably do that and buy some time, but I think they've got some issues that need to be addressed over there. But it's not the entire portion of it. It's just pieces, parts. So I
Okay,
think,
well, I thought it looked pretty good over at Marquette, that they'd done a good job, and I thought we had chip sealed it, so.
yes, we've done it a couple of times, and I think we're still trying to do some crack sealing over there yet this year, or yet this spring. Try to help that out a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Okey-doke.
Tom, I guess what's the next step over there? The asphalt plant's getting close, it sounds like. So do we need to be contacting that milling company again? And
I will touch base with them this week and see kind of where they're at in the scheduling process. For us, it's not going to really cause us any issues because we have some overlaying to do
right.
other than those projects that are being milled. So our plan is to, once we fire the plant, we'll run a test batch of asphalt. First, we'll have to calibrate everything, and then we'll run a test batch. And then we will probably go out and do some patching. And I know the crews bringing equipment in now, the paving equipment, getting it ready. We can go down on Old Highway 81, 2043 down at Mound Ridge, and we have about 3 miles, not quite 3 miles of road to overlay to finish that project from Mound Ridge to the county line. And that's kind of where we're really going to approach first. And I think we had discussed with the milling company to mill on Pawnee first and then get that overlay done. It'd be nice to have that done before harvest. Just because of the volume of trucks that are on it now, and it only increases through harvest. And if we can get that done relatively quick, that might save us a lot of time on patching if it starts to beat it up pretty bad. So that was kind of the processes we're going to lean towards in the schedule.
Tom, has anybody looked at the road surface on the overlay we did there from First Street up to the old 81 interchange with Main Street? That's really looking rough.
On the bypass?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. And that, if you remember when we had the issues with our distributor truck and the company was going to come out and do a fix. So we, at the last minute, threw that little piece together there, and they really didn't come out and fix. They just gathered information. And, they were making adjustments in the computer, and it really shows. So in my opinion, we've got a mess on our hands there at their causing, and we're going to have to do something before that it gets too hot, because that's going to bleed and that's going to cause a mess. So we've had a conversation with Ergon, the guys that supply oil. What materials do they have that might be able to help us out? We may have to go in and put some fine sand on that to blot that, so the oil doesn't bleed too much. We may have to do it twice. A lot of it just depends on weather and traffic, but high traffic area, and when it starts getting hot, it's going to start bleeding.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, we're paying attention to it.
Yeah, we got to stay on top of that.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all, and I don't think it's going to. It's going to be a headache. So.
Any other questions for Tom? Tom, while I think about it, I had an oil pumper call me this morning. We have a barricade out on 18th and Mohawk. That's where we're replacing that bridge on the west end of that mile.
Yes.
Yeah, you might check that, because it must have went down this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, do we have Holly back on?
I'm here if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Holly, County Clerk.
Okay. Yes. I am here today to do a PCN on Jennifer Crouch. It is her year end, so she's getting promoted from Clerk 1 to Clerk 2. She is doing absolutely fabulous.
Well, we're always happy to hear that.
Yes.
Okay, she transferred over from the motor vehicle department.
Yes.
Okay. And so this is a promotion then. It's not an introduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Did she have an evaluation or?
No, this is her year end.
Okay.
I mean, I can give you one.
Well, I just didn't see any rating on her. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion on Jennifer Crouch.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the PCN for Jennifer Crouch for promotion as presented.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Holly.
Holly.
Okay. Jeff Butler, IT Coordinator.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
My presentation today is regarding Office 365. It's been something that
I can't hear him.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring him around, Ron.
Okay.
Can you hear me now, Ron?
Yeah, real
Okay.
good.
Great. My presentation today is regarding Office 365. It's been something that's been in my long-term goals for the IT and the county for a couple of years now. You did actually allow in my budget and request for 2019 or 2020 an allowance at least for this year to cover the costs of Office 365 transition. Currently, we are hosted on site for our Exchange email server. We have Exchange 2010, which is due to go end of life in October of this year. I would like to go ahead and complete the transition from an on-premise Exchange server to Office 365 in the cloud. I did get some costs for that, which I believe were distributed to all of you. We would incur 10 Government Pro Plus users at $12 a month a piece. And then we would have 135 Enterprise E3 government users at $20 a month for a total of the two of $2,820 a month. There is a 3-year term required. So that would be over that 3-year term, that would come to a total of $101,520. Now with Office 365, there are some advantages to that. We can install on up to 5 computers or devices. So for those users that have not only a workstation at their desk, but may also have a laptop or a tablet, we can add Office to those devices without incurring any additional costs. Whereas with our current volume licensing scheme, we would have to purchase an additional license for each device for Office. So that being said, if we stick with our current scheme of things, to update our Exchange server licensing to Exchange 2019 would incur cost of $965. It would also incur client licensing costs with software assurance of $18,150 for a total just for the server of $19,115. If we were to do Office upgrades with our same format we're doing now, this would incur with software assurance to cover the 3-year term, apples to apples with Office 365, $730 for each user. For 145 users would be $105,830. So the total for on-premise for Office, the Office application for each of our users, as well as upgrading our server, would be $124,945 for 3 years. If at the end of that 3 years, we decide that we need to upgrade the Exchange licensing again, those client licenses, which were $18,150, which is basically the license for each person using the email or having an email address, they may or may not transfer after that 3 years. So it's possible after 3 years that we would have to incur that whole $20,000 again for that licensing. A couple other advantages of going to Office 365 is that each of the email addresses would include encryption. So those users that had previously been paying for a separate encryption service for like our health department officials that are required because of HIPAA information and that sort of thing, that would be included with each license. So we wouldn't have to have a third-party encryption service for that any longer. Also, I did send each of you out a little overview video regarding Microsoft Teams and what that can do. It is something that if we do go with Office 365 that I'd like to implement for each department, them willing. I think it will streamline things for them and allow them to do their job more efficiently. That's something that also comes with Office 365 that is not included in the standard volume licensing Office fee. So that's pretty much where it sits. You can see there's excuse me, you can see there's about a $23,000 cost savings over 3 years by going to Office 365 over remaining hosting here and updating each user's Office license via volume licensing instead of utilizing Office 365.
So the total amount that you're going to want is that 105,000. Is that correct?
It would be $101,520 over 3 years. It would be prorated for the remainder of this year, and I do have money in my budget for this year to cover that cost for the remainder of this year. It would just need to be, as you're doing budget hearings for this year for 2021, you would need to allow for the remaining 2 years.
So Jeff, you're saying there's actually a savings than if we stay with our old license agreements?
That's correct.
Okay.
Actually, as I mentioned, I mean, Microsoft's really trying to push larger organizations away from the volume licensing.
Well, they're doing that. They're doing that to little guys too, because they cut me off as effective tomorrow, April 21st. No longer service any of my programs until I switched over to the 360. So I had to do that. I like it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's worked fine, but it really makes you mad when they just shove you into it.
Right. And in this case, there is a cost savings and there's an advantage for the organization, as we don't we could actually save money by not having to have volume licenses on each device. You know, as I mentioned, each user can have on up to 5 devices.
Now, I will say on the team side, John Deere said to go with they went ahead and went with this because Teams is more secure than what the Zoom is.
Right, that does include the video portion of that as well. So the Skype for Business video conferencing is also included in each license.
Right. So what would I use? Are you going to put it on my computer, or do I go ahead and use the one I've got through John Deere?
Well, it's we will have to figure out a strategy as far as installation if this is approved. But I guess what you're saying is that you have the Office application from John Deere installed on your computer?
Well, yeah, the one I use for John Deere, I have already on my laptop. I don't have it on my iPad. It's on my laptop.
Sure. Yeah, so we would install both on your iPad and your laptop this application.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Jeff?
No.
No?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the move to Microsoft Office 365 for our operating systems.
And this would be a 3-year plan.
3-year plan, yeah.
Yeah, I'll second your motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, we have checks and claims yet.
I don't know whether the shutdown has anything to do with it, but that's about the smallest check run, 227,000 we've ever had, isn't it, Rick?
It is smaller than normal. Just wait till next week, I guess.
Any questions on any of it? I noticed on our McKids, we got our dirt work done for that playground. That all got completed. That's on page 2, that $4,900.
I didn't have anything. It looked pretty clean to me.
Yeah, it looked good to me too. So I'll entertain a motion.
What did we have for encumbrances? That was on a bridge.
Yeah, there was one item, I think.
Yeah, there's bridge replacement remaining balance, $12,745.
Wonder which one which it says 05 be Fifth Avenue in 159. I don't know where that's at. Huh.
We don't have Tom on anymore, do we?
No.
This would have been the remaining balance, so we're finished with paying for this. Is that correct, Rick? I don't know. Ron, was that in your area, that bridge?
Yeah, it's Moccasin Road, Fifth Avenue and Moccasin Road.
Moccasin, so that would just be 1 mile to the south of 56. No.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No.
No, it's north of 56th.
Yeah, it'd be north.
Well, that was the one we're going to have, that was in that contract. This must have been the repair of it or something. We did something there. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, I think this, Lochner, was that one of the contractors that did the design, or was that an actual dirt contract?
Oh, I'll bet that's the design part of it.
That's the professional services for the design of that bridge on Fifth Avenue going to Marquette.
Right. Yep. Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the accounts payable, the encumbrances, and payroll.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, then we had a personnel, treasurer, motor vehicle. We had a PCN there,
You
didn't
have
we?
a PCN in your packet for Shaylee. She's been here 6 months. Gentleman hired her and then just didn't throw her under the bus, but you threw her into the fire with all the COVID-19.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
She's doing an outstanding job. This is what your agreement was when you hired her at the end of 6 months. And I think if you have any questions about Shaylee's performance or anything, you're more than welcome to give her a call.
Yeah. Yeah, she's done an outstanding job for us.
She's really done a good job keeping everyone informed on this COVID-19 situation, as well as the department open as best they can for immunizations and WIC program and so forth.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the PCN for Shaylee as an end of introductory as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Your second one was for the tag office, motor vehicle office. As you heard previously, the Register of Deeds hired an employee from the tag office. And so the treasurer's office hired one from the deeds office. They basically switched. The one in the deeds office was leaving first, and then the one in the treasurer's office moved to fill the vacancy in the deeds office. So Ashley is moving over to the motor vehicle side, was previously in the Register of Deeds office, which you just filled that vacancy this morning.
Ashley Lauderdale.
Yes.
Okay. So is everybody even up then, or are they still short one in one department?
I think the motor vehicle office is still short one. Right now, they can handle everything with no more of the volume that's coming in through the mail.
Right.
So.
Okay.
And people can continue to send in their registrations, even though the governor, they extended those registrations. They can continue to send in their registrations by mail. Someone that has a transfer through private parties, purchase something from a private party, dealerships, titles, those can all still be processed. They just need to contact the motor vehicle office to see what paperwork they need. And that department will follow up with them. So they're getting caught up on titles for the first time in years. I think they're only a week or two behind on titles. So any new title work and stuff, it's a good time to work with them and get it in the mail.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the PCN as presented on Ashley Lauderdale for the department change as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That take care of everything, Rick? I think we covered everything.
That's all I have.
Yep, I think that's everything on our agenda for now. So I will ask.
Question I have is on Moore. He's and this is a city issue on the putting some dirt in around Maxwell Street somewhere. Is that anything that's going to affect us down the road? Has John Versu said anything? Because the water's coming in from the north.
Oh, that's north on Centennial, let's see, Maxwell, north on Maxwell, you're correct, right past Northview. That's a city issue, how they handle it, how they address it. I know the property owners have been in touch with the city regarding the flood control area. So that is you are correct, that is a city has to address it. They're the ones that have the extraterritorial jurisdiction for 3 miles, as well as the flood control management for those areas.
Okay, so you don't think that can back it up on us and make us have to pay for the dirt work or move channel improvement or whatever they need to do?
I haven't heard anything from the township. I think it's the adjoining property owners that are more concerned.
Yeah, okay,
Than the township.
all right.
Okay, anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.